Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're well and eating good. So today I have for you a chicken stir fry recipe that's just as good, if not better, than your local takeaway. Amazingly moist chicken breasts that I have a trick for, a delicious sauce that you can use on a packet of stir fry mix or anything. I just think everyone should try it out. So without further ado, let's get right in. So first you'll need chicken breast. You can use chicken thigh, but mine's pretty big. I'm gonna cut this breast in half. I have some garlic, some chilies, and an array of vegetables. I also have some broccoli, some carrots, some mushrooms, bell peppers, bamboo shoots. You can use chestnuts as well, spring onions and onions. The seasoning sauce, you'll need chicken stock cube and some salt, some white pepper. I don't use black pepper for this. Some ginger powder, corn flour, which will be for thickening, and I'll explain later. Some agave syrup or sugar, if you're using that. Oyster sauce, soy sauce, and sesame oil. And then the secret ingredient, baking powder. Guys, I've used this in a couple recipes already. I think you should have it in your pantry. It makes the chicken crazy moist. I'll explain it in my blog, so please check it out. Get baking powder, okay? Now let's get in. So I've cut the chicken breast in half, and the way that also helps this, apart from the baking powder, you want to cut against the grain. So you see the way the chicken is lengthway, you kind of want to cut the other way. I'm just going to take that chicken tender off. I'm going to cut that too. But okay, so you see the lines, they all go down that way. You want to cut in the opposite direction. This just tenderizes the meat in another way as well. If you choose not to get the baking powder, but please do get that. I promise it makes a difference. And then also I like to slice on a diagonal, very thin strips. If you cut it into cubes, you're more likely to get really dry, tough chicken breasts, and you don't want that, okay? So try to slice on a diagonal with a sharp knife, watch your fingers, and cut it really thin as you can, okay? And now to the cut chicken breast, you want to add the chicken seasoning and the salt, okay? And then I'm also going to add a little bit of basically everything that goes into the seasoning sauce. I have some white pepper. I will put all the measurements, all the names, everything in the blog post, so please check that out, guys, okay? I'm using ginger powder because I couldn't find any ginger, like fresh ginger, but if you do have that, please use it. I'm also adding some soy sauce. Someone commented that I usually, I don't measure. I do measure. It's just that I can kind of see it by eye now because I cook so much. I do see it by eye, but trust me, all my measurements are in there and I will have them for you. I'm adding some sesame oil. Be careful with sesame oil because it's very strong flavor and it can overpower the dish. So please follow my measurements and don't just add it in. If you don't have it, you can leave it out. And then I'm going to add some baking powder as well. Because of the baking powder, you won't need to marinate the chicken for long because it does tenderize and you don't want it to break the chicken down too much. So you only need to marinate this for about 5 or 10 minutes, so actually not too long. I'm also going to add some oyster sauce, which was giving me problems. And then after that, just mix and make sure it's all well combined. Make sure there aren't any lumps of seasoning and stir that in, and then set it aside. Put it in the fridge for about 15 to 20 minutes. So while the chicken's marinating, we'll make the seasoning sauce. Some garlic in there, half of the garlic that we use, as well as a little salt. Some soy sauce, okay, and then I'm also going to add some oyster sauce. The oyster sauce gives it that, nice, luxurious texture as well as flavor. It's very vital in a lot of Chinese cooking. So I do recommend you find this. You can find it anywhere now, in your local supermarket, in the Asian supermarket. It's pretty much everywhere. I'm also going to add some agave. This is just because I'm cutting out sugar, so if you have sugar, please use that. It's really up to you. You can use honey if you want, but I'd recommend sugar if you don't have agave. So give that a stir, make sure it's all nice and combined, and then add a drop of sesame oil. That was a bit much, but I did manage to water it down later. Make sure you follow my measurements because sesame oil can be very overpowering. If you don't have it, just leave it out. I'm going to add some of the chili as well just to get some heat in there now, and then I'm going to mix that and simply set aside. Okay, so the reason why I say you need corn flour is because the sauce needs thickening, and you know usually in Chinese takeaways you get that kind of thick sauce and you're wondering how. It's because they use corn flour, and you can skip it out but you will have a more watery stir fry. So what we're going to make is called a slurry, and a slurry is just some corn flour with some water, and then you mix that into like not a paste but like a little watery solution, and when you put it into the sauce later, it's like magic. It just makes the sauce thick like straight away. It's pretty crazy. If you don't have corn flour, I wouldn't recommend using plain flour. So in a hot wok, you want to have some vegetable oil in there, get it smoking, nice and smoky, and then add the chicken. We're gonna cook the chicken about 90% of the way. So, you know, stir fry it, let it get some color on there, and just give it a good mix every now and again. It's a stir fry, so, you know, do what you gotta do, but just make sure you don't cook it all the way. About basically nearly cooked, and take it out when you think it's nearly done. I'm just spreading it around the wok so it can evenly cook and get some color, and then once that's done, I'm just going to start stir frying it and making sure everything comes together. So at that point, it's about good for me. I think I'm going to transfer it into I didn't move my camera. Transfer it into a plate and set aside. My wok was giving me some troubles, okay? So this, I feel like the universe was trying to help you guys. You don't have to use a wok. You can just use a frying pan. Okay, so I'm going to add the hard vegetables first. If you're using, you know, a packet stir fry mix, you can just do it all at once because they pretty much cut it the same size. But if you're using your own vegetables, add the hard ones and the bigger vegetables first so that they can cook and all cook evenly. As you can see, my pan here was getting really burnt, and my wok was getting burnt and it was starting to affect the flavor of the vegetables. So I was like, nope, that's over, that's cancelled. We're going to put it into a frying pan. And while I put it into a frying pan, my camera didn't, you know, record. So I just added the peppers and let that stir fry, and then I also added the broccoli. So just put the harder vegetables first, let them cook down, and then add in the softer vegetables. Then I add in all the garlic. Don't add the garlic first because it can burn, and that isn't what you want. You want the garlic to be fragrant. You don't want it to get cooked too quickly, so add it towards the end, okay? Stir fry that as you would, and just make sure all the flavors are in there. Give it a good stir fry. Next, I'm adding the bamboo shoots. You can use water chestnuts. They sell these in a can in any, you know, grocery store. So just use what you find. You don't have to do this. If you're using a packet mix, then you don't have to worry. Choose a packet of vegetables that you do like. Now you want to add half of the seasoning sauce. We're going to add half now, and then the other half later when we add the chicken. The vegetables are nearly done. You know, they still have their good color. They're still crisp. You don't want them to get soggy, so work quickly with this, okay? If the heat's too high, turn it down, it's okay. And then, you know, I'm going to give you a little flip action. If you can't do that, don't do it. Just keep stirring, okay? But make sure you're constantly moving the vegetables because it is a stir fry. Next, add the chicken back with all the juices because you know it's rested. Those are good flavors, and just mix that around. Make sure everything's nice and incorporated. It's really easy, guys. I think everyone knows how to do a stir fry. What I want you guys to take from this is at least the seasoning sauce and the technique for getting super moist chicken. Now add the rest of the seasoning sauce. I do it in batches because I don't want it to just be a soupy mess. I want, you know, things to absorb and things to work quickly, so I don't add it all at once, okay? I like to do half with the veg and then half with the meat, and then mix it all together and keep stirring. Make sure you keep stir frying that. Because of how I cut the vegetables, they won't get soggy, before one thing is cooked. I did cut them in a way that means they all cooked at the same time. So make sure you do this if you are using your own veg. It's all up to you. Okay, so now we're going to add our slurry. Sometimes it settles at the bottom, so just use your finger to mix that and then pour it around the sauce. Instantly, you're going to see how thick it gets. It gets nice and velvety and delicious, and I really love what this does. I don't like mine too thick, and so I am going to add a little water later on, and if that happens, don't worry, just add a bit of water. You can see how nice and velvety it is there. If you add a little water, don't worry, it will thicken back up again, so don't be scared to adjust it, okay? Don't be scared. Lastly, I'm going to add the spring onions because I want to keep them fresh, so I'm adding them at the end and just give that a nice stir. And then add the chili. If you're adding chili, it's up to you, and give that a lovely mix. And there you have it, guys. There's really not much to it, okay? I am putting a bit of water here because mine got a bit thick. If yours isn't, it's pretty much ready. Serve this with rice, have it with noodles. I just wanted mine on its own today, and it's really up to you guys. But yeah, serve it up with whatever you want. Enjoy. I hope you take this away. I hope it's helpful for you. If you do, please send me pictures. Bye, guys.